Every
Thank
state
you,
here?
Chairman Stile, and thank you to the witnesses. I represent Montana's 2nd Congressional District, which is rural and sparsely populated. You know, some of the counties in my district have under 1,000 people. Actually, there's one that's got just over 500 people.
The
So
real
very
innovators
sparse.
here in Montana.
Geographically, we're very large, and you know, blockchain technology is not something that only highly populated and tech-heavy areas should be concerned with. You know, rural communities can also reap the benefits of this technology, and I'm really excited about it, actually. So I'm just going to start out with Mr. Kim. Can you describe the benefits that digital assets and blockchain technology are bringing to rural communities like my district, and explain why rural users might want to use a blockchain-based financial product over something more traditional?
Thank you so much for this important question, Congressman. As I've mentioned throughout today, blockchain and digital assets allow for more efficient, seamless, low-cost and pricing mechanisms, including for payment purposes. And I think we've talked a lot about today about the potential. You know, what are the use cases? How can this grow? But in order for us to really unlock this potential innovation even more, again, we do need the comprehensive frameworks to ensure the U.S. can lead when it comes to digital asset innovation, including in your districts, Congressman.
Well, thank you. Mr. Fernandez de Ponte, anything to add to that?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I subscribe to the potential to drive additional flexibility on payments. In many rural areas, there is a scarcity of traditional payment institutions or financial institutions and banking branches. So this ability to be able to have payment instruments that are fast and effective and they can circulate widely, we believe that would benefit substantially residents in rural areas.
Thank you. You know, as several of my colleagues have mentioned, you know, countries around the world are well on their way to establishing regulatory frameworks for digital assets and payment stablecoins. You know, if the United States does not embrace this technology and provide a clear regulatory framework, we will fall behind.
We already
Right
lost,
now,
bro.
The largest digital asset trading platform and stablecoin issuers are based outside of the United States.
We've lost. We're way
I'll go
behind.
back to Mr. Kim. What are the implications of the U.S. ceding leadership to other countries in digital assets and blockchain technology?
Thank you, Congressman. As I mentioned in my written testimony, it's a race to the top. A lot of other leading jurisdictions are racing to establish regulatory frameworks, and it remains critical and imperative for the U.S. to lead on all of this. Due to the past 4 years of a regulation by enforcement approach, as we've talked about throughout today, responsible, established American companies have had to open offices and pursue licensure elsewhere in other jurisdictions. So time is critical, and Congress, as I've mentioned respectfully, needs to come up with a comprehensive framework to ensure that leadership innovation stays here in the U.S., both for stablecoins, but for many other digital asset companies and intermediaries.
Thank you. Switching gears a little bit, you know, Montana was part of a multi-state enforcement action under NASA against FTX, and I understand the FTX debacle and other hacks and scams in the digital asset ecosystem have made some people skeptical about this technology. You know, there's legitimate concerns that bad actors in the space are not being held accountable and investors are being defrauded. We can preserve the promise of this technology while weeding out the bad actors. I've always said bad actors are bad for business. Nobody wants that. You know, as Montana's former regulator for securities and insurance, I did just that. It was my job to go after fraudsters while making sure Montana remained the place where entrepreneurs came to thrive. So, Mr. Garrison, can you explain why someone who is skeptical of digital assets would want Congress to provide regulatory certainty to the digital asset ecosystem through legislation rather than deferring to the regulators?
It's because the regulators have failed to act that you have situations like FTX, right? So this is an example of fraud not coming from the technology, but from centralized bad actors. Right now, there is no current federal regulator overseeing the spot trading of digital assets, so therefore there's no one for FTX to report into the U.S.
Thank you. Mr. Yahim, anything you want to add to that?
So I think, thank you for the question, Congressman. It's important from a centralized market standpoint. We have clear federal rules. We've tried to navigate this patchwork of multi-state licenses. I think, you know, the states will continue to have an important role to play for consumer protection, as you know from your previous roles. But as what we've seen in the equities and derivatives markets, a clear, unified federal framework is essential in order to protect customers and continue innovation in the United States.
Well, thank you all for being here, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield my time.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Florida, Mr. Herodopoulos, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate this. This is always eye-opening as we're getting started in the committee and as a new member. I wanted to pick up where Chairman Hill left off. Mr. Masid, you, in past testimony, have advocated for joint SRO to oversee digital assets as a convenient way to sidestep the questions of whether
Muhammad says, what specific benefits does your bootcamp offer? It offers everything on this website. It'd probably be better for you to just read this page and watch that video. It'll tell you absolutely everything about the bootcamp. The bootcamp teaches you how to automate your trading in 15 days, and it's closing here today or tomorrow. So yeah. Any more Europe seems like a nasty place. You even been anywhere except the US? Sasha, you're new here, clearly. I'm Mr. Worldwide, bro. I've been everywhere.